Educated professionals are fleeing red states. It's being called the red state brain drain, and it does not bode well for Republican states, which on average already struggle economically, infrastructure wise, healthcare, educationally. It's only going to get worse for red states because of these victories for radical republicanism, if that's what we're calling it. There's a very interesting article in the New Republic. I'm not going to read it to you, but we will link to it. It's called "The Red State Brain Drain Isn't Coming. It's Happening Right Now." And it argues, as conservative states wage total culture war, college-educated workers, physicians, teachers, professors, and more are packing their bags. The article is very much worth reading. It both is anecdotal in that it tells the stories of individuals and how they said, hey, you know what, we're getting the hell out of here based on what's going on. But it also gives us some broader data. Specifically, young professionals, educated young professionals in academia and healthcare, important areas, important industries in so many different ways, are saying we're going to go elsewhere. When you look at what's happening with OBGYN residencies in red states after the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it's early, but we are starting to see that when you want to do an OBGYN residency coming out of medical school, you're increasingly not going to go to a red state because it's a combination of immoral what they're doing, but also there are doctors that are worried about their medical licenses. They're worried about their freedom when it comes to, are they going to arrest me depending on what I do to provide care to my patients? So you are now going to start to see over the next 5 to 10 years that it is already the case that when you restrict abortion, et cetera, you make healthcare less safe for people within those states. You are going to see those who seek to become OBGYNs do their residencies in other states and presumably stay in those other states. It will worsen the healthcare system and access to women's health and quality of women's health even more. Other examples from the article include when it comes to teaching. As we see these contrived cultural issues dip into parents and right-wing nuts saying, here's the books you're allowed to teach from, here's how you're supposed to teach, here's what you're allowed to talk about in the classroom, rather than leaving it to the actual educational professionals. Teachers also will say, I'm not going to teach here. I'm going to teach where they don't give me a list of banned books, where I'm not going to be fired if I mention, hey, gay people exist, trans people exist. It's going to further, and remember, education on average is already worse in red states. Healthcare on average is already worse in red states. Average income is lower in red states. All of these things are already true. It's going to get even worse. Now, I want to say one more thing about that. For some Republicans, education getting worse is a good thing. Public education. Because what many of these right-wingers want to do is they want to make public education terrible because it builds up their argument for these voucher programs to charter schools, which hurt public schools even more. And it also builds up demand and willingness to pay for those who are able to afford it to send your kids to private school, which also hurts public schools even more. So some Republicans are going to see the worsening of education, the damaging of education as a good thing, which is a very scary reality to consider. But the red state brain drain, it's not off in the future someday. It's happening right now. People in my audience who sometimes struggle with sleep. You know, you've got those habit-forming prescription medications, which sometimes have side effects. You've got your herbal remedies that often do nothing. That's why the go-to can be melatonin, which is clinically proven to work and without the side effects and the grogginess. Our sponsor, Beam, makes delicious nighttime hot cocoa drinks called Dream with melatonin to help you get to sleep. Melatonin can also help correct circadian rhythm disturbances to get your schedule back on track. Like, for example, if you have jet lag. Beam's Dream Hot Cocoa with melatonin comes in great tasting flavors like mint chocolate chip, chocolate peanut butter, sea salt caramel, or caramel. Come on. No sugar added, sweetened with monk fruit, only 15 calories per serving. My favorite is cinnamon cocoa. I'll just be upfront. It's great to have before bed sometimes. It's hot, very flavorful, but not overly sweet. It's just a soothing way to wind down, like an hour before going to bed. If you want to try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder, take advantage of their biggest sale of the year. Get up to 50% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Pacman. The link is down below.